Hi everyone, Stjepan here. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mauricio Flores Rios, a Grandmaster and one of my favorite chess authors. Welcome, Mauricio.
Thank you for having me.
We are going to be discussing Mauricio's great chess career, his amazing chess book structures and imbalances, and we're going to be talking about chess improvement in general, and about how to analyze games, how to read chess books efficiently, how to use engines, and everything else. If you guys have any additional questions, you can post them below, and I will try to answer them myself, although it probably won't be on GM level. Okay, the first question I wanted to ask you is, what did it take for you to become a Grandmaster?
Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting question. So, well, let me tell you kind of my entire trajectory. So I started playing when I was in 5th grade. In school, they have some extracurricular activities, like after school activities, right?
Yeah.
So perhaps every Wednesday, we had like 2 hours of chess. And I started attending that. It was very lucky that they started that year. And then very quickly, I became serious about it. I just wanted to win. So I had an uncle who had a book about chess. I mean, he didn't really know much. He just, okay, look, I found this in my bookshelf. And I started reading that. It was a book by Lasker. And somehow I got my hands on some materials, and I started studying about 3 hours a day by myself when I was 10.
Okay.
I think it's like a lack of internet and lack of cable, lack of video games. Okay, gotta do something. So that's what I did. So I think I kept that rhythm of around 3 hours of chess, like study specifically, on every school day until I graduated high school, and then over the weekends it became more, and then over summers it was a lot more. I basically did maybe 6-7 hours a day of chess.
What did you do?
It was a lot of studying. Kind of what?
What did you do? How did you study?
Yes. Well, the vast majority of my time was spent reading books. And then once computers and kind of let's say chess-based and other programs became a little bit more accessible, I also spent some time analyzing my own games. So I did this very systematically. So right now I have like a database of like 1,000 of my own games that I played when I was a kid, and then I analyzed kind of one by one. I oftentimes spent maybe 45 minutes per game. I think nowadays a lot of people, when they review their own games, they spend maybe a couple of minutes. They just see like the critical moment. But I think that you should, like, if you really want to improve, you should check everything. Like, there is no such thing as like a critical moment. It's like every moment you made a move that was like a little bit worse than it could have been, and you can learn a little something from those moments. Yep.
So by the time you were 18 and you were investing 6-7 hours a day on chess on a school day, how strong were you? What was your rating by then?
Yeah, when I graduated high school, I was like 2470 maybe.
Okay. Did you ever plateau? Did you ever struggle to improve?
Yeah, that is a very good question. I don't think so. I think there was an entire year when I played and I trained a lot and I decreased 10 points. But I don't think I plateaued. I just think it was like a coincidence. Maybe sometimes you go... Back then, first of all, ratings were not updated that frequently. They're only updated like every 3 months.
Okay.
And then, in fact, I was 23-20, and then the next cycle, 3 months later, I was 24-20. So I don't think I had plateaued. It was more like maybe I got unlucky. I had some tough opponents, and then I lost a few games. But I feel like I was always kind of improving. And I think the reason is, if you review your games and you learn from your mistakes, it's kind of hard to plateau until you reach some like a natural limit, but it will be high.
Yeah. Okay. You said that the majority of your time was spent reading books.
Yep.
Can you describe your typical training session while reading a book? How would you do that to be efficient? Were you trying to be efficient, or were you just enjoying them?
Well, I mean, I was trying to learn as much as possible. So it wasn't I enjoyed it a lot, but I wouldn't say that it was a recreational activity. So if you told me like, hey, here's 2 books, this one is more educational and this one is more fun, I will read the one that is more educational because I want to be able to go to the tournaments to win, right? How did I do that? I open a book and I have my chessboard with me. So I kind of make the moves on the board while reading the book. And then I go into every single variation. And then if I'm not sure about a position, I play it through until I fully understand it. And if I really don't understand, I just keep playing it through.
Okay.
For opening books, I would transcribe them into PGN. And then I would kind of like put them into ChessBase and then double check the analysis. And then I would also store them. So when I go into a tournament, I can kind of review the lines very quickly, like a click, 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 and then kind of memorize the lines so I can speed a bunch of theory at the beginning of the games.
I'm sure at some point when you were stronger, you could just visualize all the diagrams anyway. Would you still set up positions even though you could follow it without the board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, even though you can see it, I think you can always see it clearly if you have the board. So maybe if I don't have the board, I can see the position, but I can't calculate it. Not that well. So I might as well just set it up so I can understand it more fully.
Sure. Okay. What about engines? What would you do when, let's say, this happened to me many times. I'm going through a problem from a book and my solution is wrong. And then the author says this was the correct solution and my bad solution wasn't mentioned and they don't understand why. So he says the move in the game was wrong, this was the correct move, but my move isn't mentioned. What do you do at that point? Do you just turn on the engine or do you struggle to understand it by yourself?
That's a good question. I'm very much pro engine, to be very honest with you. I think that, for example, there are people who say that when you analyze your own games, you should first analyze them without the engine, and then you should turn the engine on. I don't agree with that. I'm not opposed to that. I am not opposed to that approach. Let me be honest with you. I am not opposed to that approach. But I don't have any evidence one way or the other. Personally, I always analyze my games with the engine. And what I liked about that is that I feel like the engine, it kind of helps you to go through the games a little bit faster and to see things that you otherwise wouldn't have considered.
But if you turn on the engine anyway, after you've finished your own analysis, you still get that part, but maybe...
No, I agree. It's just that sometimes maybe, let's say if you play the tournament and you kind of play one per weekend, it's like sometimes it's hard to get enough hours to go through the games in depth, to go through all the games. So I would rather make sure that I will get through all the games. So for me, that's like top priority is like make sure that I got through all the games. But I think that you can learn a lot with the engine. You just have to ask yourself questions. Like you cannot just look at the engine evaluation and be like, the engine said. No, you have to really understand why.
Yeah.
You have to be confident that next time you have the position on the board, you will be confident to play this moves. So personally, I think I cannot develop like an engine style of play, partially because I mostly learned without a coach. So that meant I didn't have a whole lot of concepts. I just had a lot of calculation and like engine lines in my head. So, for example, whenever my opponent gave me some sacrifice for compensation, I almost always took it. Because I knew that, the engine doesn't believe this thing. So if I calculate enough, I will find some kind of refutation. So I would oftentimes just go for the lines that look really risky and my king is like almost getting checkmated. And then I have to calculate a lot. So that was kind of the style that I went for when I was young. As I got a little bit older, I tried to learn more concepts, partially because I was in college and I needed, let's say, I couldn't play very sharp openings anymore because I didn't have time to prepare them that well, right? So I started playing D4, for example. And then at that point, I had to think, okay, I have to understand things better. The other reason I wanted to understand things better is to teach them. Because teaching calculation is not that easy. So teaching concepts is a lot quicker. In 1 hour, you can introduce a lot of concepts.
Yeah. What's your approach to calculating better? How would you, if you had to, let's say, get from your current rating to 2700 within 2 years? And if you do, you get $100 million. How would you attempt to improve your calculation?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think the right way is to do extremely hard puzzles. But the puzzles that are online are not suitable for this, and I don't think they get you any closer to that, right? I think there are books that are specialized on this. They're very rare. One of the reasons they're very rare is that these kind of exercises that are kind of good at testing this are very hard to find. But I believe Balogh Saba, had a very good book about this. I saw it once. All of the examples were kind of intimidating. But if somebody wants to really improve the calculation and they're like around IM or GM level, that's where I would go.
Okay. Other than Saba's book, could you recommend any other resources? Other books with good problems?
No, I think what I would recommend is just play games and analyze them very, very rigorously. But I think, to be honest, I have a lot of faith in the method of just analyzing your own games and learning from your mistakes. I think if I hadn't retired early from competitive chess, I could have gone to at least 2600 just by following my existing recipe.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you mentioned one chess book. Could you give us a list of your favorite books, or let's say the ones you found most instructive? Yes. And they could be on anything chess related.
Yes. Well, I think for openings in general, I think the quality chess Grandmaster repertory books are very good. They are extremely high quality. I think one of the things that I always found kind of difficult is when I review openings from the typical kind of average opening book, you input the moves into the computer and the computer doesn't agree with the evaluation. So the author says, hey, you're doing well here. And then the agent says you're actually a little bit worse. And that's very difficult to deal with because it's like you invest a lot of time entering some moves, and then at some point you get to a part of the tree. It's not a good part to be. So you're like, okay, if I don't believe this, I have to reassess all of the things that we've done up to this point. So it's like a lot of time that is wasted. I feel like with the quality chess books, you never have that problem. I never had that problem, at least. I read many Abruk books for 1d4, and I thought that they were flawless. It's like, if the line doesn't give you an advantage, he just keeps searching until he makes something. Right.
Yeah. So sometimes he recommends strange lines, like the knight a3 line in his Catalan repertoire. I don't know if you've read his Catalan repertoire, but yes. When I was thinking about playing the Catalan, I took his book as my first resource, and I just didn't like some of the lines. So I agree, the book is flawless, but his recommendations are sometimes perhaps easy for you as a very strong player, but for normal humans, hard to navigate some of the positions.
No, I agree. So I think that those books have a very specific audience. I would say that if you are like a international master or above, there is like a must-have. Lower rated players, it's debatable because it's can be too much, and then it's like you don't have any automatic way to know which part to pay attention to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Let's just discuss one more before we finish. I wanted to briefly mention your two books, but since we're going to talk about them in great detail in our separate interviews on Chess Reads, let's talk about your other project, Chess Minds. Tell us
if I may give you a quick answer on the books. There's a couple of books that I think are very good.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I just mentioned them very briefly. The Jesus de la Villa, 100 Endgames You Must Know. I think that's a very practical book. I use the first several examples in my lessons. And I feel like they appeal very well even to kids, like 8-year-old kids who are 1600 or something. They like them. It's kind of fun and easy to digest, easy to teach from as well.
Yeah.
And then they learn from the legends from Marine.
Mikhail Marin.
Yeah, I think he's an excellent writer. I think that content is also kind of flawless and illuminating in many ways. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to these two authors.
Okay. Yeah, I like both. I actually use 100 Endgames you must know with my students. I think I've gone through 50 of those 100 positions with 10 people. So I agree. It's great to teach from. And I haven't read Learn from the Legends Part 2 yet, but I'm going to get my copy soon. And I love that book as well. Especially, as you said, his writing is great. But it's great to show concepts using a specific player that was good at them. So I really love the structure of the book. Right. It was great. Yeah, sorry for interrupting your answer on books.
No problem.
Let's talk about Chess Mind.
Okay, yeah. So, well, let me tell you briefly. So, I have been working on Chess Mind for a couple of years. The concept has kind of evolved over time. We've tried many things, but to give you a little bit more context about myself. So, after I became a GM in 2009, when I was like 18. I was already in college and I started to focus more on like my career, right? So I was studying like math and computer science and ended up doing a PhD. So it kind of took many years. And then after that, I worked in like the tech sector for many years. So I worked in places like Amazon. I worked in self-driving cars for a while.
No, I didn't know that.
And so I was very like involved in like doing like a machine learning kind of production systems for a variety of applications, right? Mostly working on like computer vision. But anyway, so I mean, at some point I started thinking, with as ChatGPT came around and there were a lot of developments, I've always wanted to kind of build like a chess learning platform. And I thought, okay, this is the time to do it. There's this whole new technology that we could kind of be the leaders on, as well as there's a bunch of other things that we could be doing better. So that's what kind of became Chess Mind, right? So I started thinking, okay, I want to make a platform. I want to see what's out there, do everything a little bit better, build some things that don't exist anywhere else. And that's what we're trying to do, right? So we have a combination of opening courses, positional exercises, and a lot of features still coming. We have a kind of a very active Discord community as well. So when people, let's say, give suggestions, we try to react to them very quickly. So we're very open-minded in that sense. We just want to kind of touch on every point that people are asking for.
Yeah, but I didn't get time to use it a lot, but the brief time I did use the platform, it seemed great. It seemed very novel. I used ChessGPT, and we talked about it before we started recording, but you can evaluate the position in your own words, and then Chess Mind tells you what you missed, what you did correctly, and I think that's great. I haven't seen that anywhere before. What do you think is the future of the platform regarding what's going on in the AI world in general? Do you think you will be limited with whether the tech world in Silicon Valley makes progress?
I mean, I think there is definitely some fundamental kind of improvements that are happening on all of these like kind of top of the line models. Mm-hmm. And to some degree, we kind of want to adapt to what's available, right? But I think every functionality that we currently have will continue to get better and we'll be able to scale more. But my vision for the future is we will have like a fully automated kind of a coaching experience where you can interact and ask a bunch of questions and get meaningful answers, which is extremely hard to do, right? It's like, it's very hard for like an LLM to say something that is not obvious. Right. Yeah. So we are making progress in that direction, but there's a long way to go. And especially if you misunderstand something, for let's say a model to be able to listen to you and understand what you misunderstood, they can kind of get in your head and say like, this is the part that you don't understand. Yeah. I think that's the future, and I'm very excited about it. But it's an extremely difficult challenge. I think that's like everyone's dream to some degree.
It is. I actually spoke to a very good friend of mine, a FIDE master, last spring. We were talking about creating ChessGPT for chess, literally what you had made. Uh-huh. And after about an hour of drinking coffee and talking about that, we said, there's no way. There is no way.
Yeah, we have been trying since 2023, so it's very difficult. I can promise you there's a lot of things that we tried that did not work. I'm happy with what we have right now, but I still see a lot of room to improve.
Yeah, what you have right now is incredible. I want to talk about one aspect of it which I couldn't understand. Normally, when I look at the chess platform, I can guess which player's strength would it be most useful to. With ChessMind, I couldn't figure out even the most basic thing. Is it better for a very strong player or a very weak player? I couldn't decide that. And I'm, let's say, in the middle somewhere, and I found it useful. Who do you think is the target audience?
I would like to help every player except from the very top.
Okay.
And I don't, it's not that I don't care about the very top. I just think that the very top players have their own tools and they know what they are doing. Everyone has their own method to improve.
Yeah.
But right now, I would say the focus is players who are below FIDE master level, who want to perhaps get some help to digest ideas. So for example, our opening courses, every move has an explanation. Some explanations are very simple, almost rudimentary. Some explanations are a little bit more nuanced. But overall, we try to make everything easy to digest so that even like you can read it like when you're on the bus or you have 10 minutes and you can be like, okay, I learned a little something in this little time that I had.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I'm very excited to see how it progresses. Before we finish, I wanted to ask you about your plans for the future. Apart from ChessMind, your two books are incredible. Are you planning to write any more?
Yeah, we are in talks with, Quality Chess has been a great publisher, so I'm always interested. We have some ideas for like a next topic. But right now, I think I'm very focused on the platform. So it's like I have to find like a gap because honestly, it takes a lot of time to write something that you're happy with. It takes a very long time. Especially for me, the part that takes an insane amount of time is finding games that I'm happy with. And then, well, I mean, the other thing that is maybe more concrete is that in the near future, like maybe this week, I will be recording the video lesson for chess imbalances. So that's going on Chessable, or maybe has been released in Chessable, and then the video will be released as soon as I finish it.
Okay. So typical chess player who does many things and has a bunch of work and is very productive. Congratulations. I think everything you did so far is great. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading what you publish next.
Thank you.
Thank you for the interview. I really appreciate talking to you. As I told you before we started recording, it's like meeting, if you like football, it's like meeting Cristiano Ronaldo or someone for me, because I'm a geek and a chess player. So thank you once again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.